Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Z, and today I want to talk about the biggest Marvel reveal that I've ever witnessed. And this comes in the form of Thor issue number 20, titled God of Hammers Part 2. So if you haven't read the current issue of Thor, and you plan on reading it, then I would suggest that you click off this video, because there's going to be spoilers. So ever since Thor's been having issues wielding Mjolnir, and then Mjolnir goes missing, the question became, where did it go? Who took it? So then we start hearing these rumors about this God of Hammers. And the question is, who is it? Now, me personally, I expected Donny Cates to play it safe. You know, most of the times it's the same old villain, maybe wielding something new, wearing something new, whatever have you. But definitely surprised, at least me. I think the majority of readers were very surprised to find out who it was who actually had took Mjolnir and who is the God of Hammers. And so we find out in issue number 20 who exactly is the God of Hammers. And to my surprise, and more than likely everyone's surprise, it is Mjolnir itself. Mjolnir incarnate is wielding itself and is the God of Hammers who have been going through the realms, wreaking havoc, destroying everything. This was the biggest, craziest thing that I've personally ever seen done in comics, and it was so bold and so new. I really didn't expect it. So this is why the comic right now, like, it came out on the 5th of January. I got my issue on the 7th of January for cover price, and I went online to check for the variants, and I found out that the issue is already going for $25. The variant is $144, and there's another variant that's a bit cheaper at, like, you can find them maybe like 25, just like the normal issue. So the comic is booming right now. It's absolutely crazy, and this was like the best reveal ever. Now, I know there's some of you who may not be keeping up with the Thor comics and might be wondering, how did we get to this point? How did we get to a point where Mjolnir is wielding itself? What's going on? I'm lost. And don't worry, because I got you. I'm going to actually quickly cover how we got to this point to where you have Mjolnir incarnate wielding itself and going through the realms, just tearing everything apart. So this story pretty much goes back all the way to Thor God of Thunder, written by Jason Aaron. This was in 2013. So Thor is facing Gore the God Butcher, who will be featured in the new Thor Love and Thunder movie. And Gore is basically going on this campaign, killing every god he can come across. And his whole kind of motive and thought is that gods are not worthy. That's it. We'll just keep it there. Gods are not worthy. So then we have Original Sin, also written by Jason Aaron, where there are many characters investigating the death of Uatu, who is the Watcher. Long story short, we end up having a conflict between Nick Fury and Thor. And Nick Fury whispers something into Thor's ear. And after doing so, Thor was no longer able to wield Mjolnir. He became unworthy. This segues into the Jane Foster Thor, who ends up picking Mjolnir up off of the moon, being worthy and becoming the Jane Foster Thor. So during her run, we actually get a new origin story for Mjolnir. And the story goes as follows. There was a cosmic storm that was capable of destroying planets, and it's sweeping through the cosmos, causing all kinds of destruction. Now, Odin, being the powerful All-Father, ends up fighting this mother storm and encasing it in a chunk of Uru, which he then gives to the dwarves to fashion it into a weapon. And the dwarves end up making the hammer. Upon its creation, the hammer was completely uncontrollable because the storm was essentially sentient and it was uncontrollable. So Odin put the enchantment on it, basically saying, if I can't wield this power, then no one's going to wield this power. He puts the enchantment on it, and Mjolnir gets locked in its vault for eons. Obviously, eventually Thor is worthy enough to wield Mjolnir, but there's a difference between Thor, Odin's son, wielding Mjolnir and Jane Foster wielding the hammer. See, the hammer was more responsive and graceful when Jane wielded it because she treated it like an ally, like a friend, and she actually showed it affection. Thor pretty much just used it as a weapon. And the hammer was pretty resentful of Thor because it was encased in this Uru for so long. So Jane's wielding the hammer, and the hammer's doing all kinds of different things that it's never done with Thor. Now, fast forwarding to the end of the Jane Foster's run as Thor, she's facing the Mangog. And in order to destroy him, she has to hurl him into the sun along with Mjolnir. This effectively destroys the hammer, unleashing the God Tempest's energy into the sun, where it presumably dies. We then transition into the War of the Realms, where Malekith, the Dark Elf, is assembling all legions of the 9 realms to wage this massive war. It was a pretty big event for the Marvel Comics that Jason Aaron also wrote. So he's a complete legend when it comes to writing, especially for Thor. His work with Thor was just so amazing. I mean, it was a 7-year-long story that he really just revolutionized the character with, and it's absolutely amazing. So we reach the climax of the War of the Realms, and in order for Thor to be able to end this war and defeat Malekith and all his newfound power, he wields the God Tempest energy from the sun in order to recreate Mjolnir. But this time, the God Tempest actually cooperated with Thor and willingly went into the new hammer. And then the handle was actually fashioned from a piece of Yggdrasil, the World Tree. Mjolnir is more powerful than ever in its new created form, and with its newfound cooperation with the God of Thunder, his abilities with it also grew. So the War of the Realms ends, and Jason Aaron actually passes the torch of Thor on to Donny Cates, who then picks it up and essentially continues where Jason Aaron left off, and then started incorporating his own spin on the character as well, which flows very well with what Jason Aaron has already set up for the character. So just kind of stating that Donny Cates right now is doing an absolutely amazing job filling in Jason Aaron's shoes. Now, after we get the Cosmic Thor, who teams up with Galactus and becomes his herald to essentially face down his creator, after Thor kills Galactus and the Black Winter, something strange begins to happen with Mjolnir, and it becomes more of a burden for Thor to wield. It's heavier to him. Now, for everyone else around, the hammer's easier to wield, and we as the audience have no clue what's going on. Thor has no clue what's going on. So eventually Thor says, I need to shelf this hammer. I can no longer use it. I don't need to be using it. I'm the king. I need to be that. I need to be the king of Asgard. I don't need to be its warrior. So Thor stashes Mjolnir away in the Avengers mountain, thinking it would be safe there. And that's where we get to this point where Mjolnir disappears and is going on this rampage through all the realms, just wreaking all types of havoc. That is until we get to issue number 20, where we actually find out who took the hammer, who is the God of Hammers, who's causing all this destruction, and we find out that it is Mjolnir. And we can see that the shape of Mjolnir is actually feminine. So I believe that this is probably the God Tempest, or the Mother Storm, if you will, that has taken form and is now able to wield Mjolnir as its own weapon with its own power. And now we're left with the question, why is Mjolnir doing this? The God Tempest was pretty destructive in nature, and that can be just what it is. That's what it's meant to do. It's meant to be a destructive force that just goes through and just wreaks havoc. That could be what it is. But ultimately, we don't know yet. So we're just going to have to wait for the issues to drop, keep reading so we can get the full story and the full understanding of what's driving Mjolnir to do what it's doing. Why is it rebelling in the way that it's rebelling? But if you stuck around this whole time, I appreciate you doing that. Leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and let me know what you think about the reveal of Mjolnir essentially wielding itself and becoming the God of Hammers and causing all that destruction and chaos. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you.